Okay, so today we're going to talk about your desperate behaviors. Yeah, I'm coming for you today. You've been living life desperately, making desperate grab ass attempts at success and happiness, choosing to do desperate behaviors in order to get things accomplished. And we're going to get to the bottom of it. We've got 3 things that you've been doing that are considered desperate, how to change those things, how to spot what's going on and why you're behaving that way in the first place, and how to turn our L's into wins, because we winners over here. Yes, we are. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, hi, my name's Love Spell, the Queen with the Pen. On this channel, I upload a bi-weekly podcast that goes into various subjects like toxic behavior, manifestation, and shadow work. In the meantime, in between time, I also upload videos that talk about setting goals and changing your vibration to a higher level and how to vibe high and stay there. If this seems like something that you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button, click that like button, and ring that bell. We're about to stir up this pot. Y'all ready or not? Okay, so let's talk about why you being desperate. Don't get mad. Don't get mad. Okay, first we got to go into the definition, the textbook definition of what desperate really is. Desperation, or behaving desperate, is feeling sad, feeling hopeless, like the outcome is always going to be what it's going to be, or doing behaviors that are dangerous, negative to you, or bring some kind of negativity to you, or taking an L on one end in order to try to receive a certain outcome on another. Basically, just really wanting something so bad that you'll go to extreme lengths that are not worth it in order to get it. So, I'm going to say it again. Let's talk about you being desperate, okay? Most people have experienced it when it comes to people, places, and things. Wanting that money so bad that you'll do it at any length. You'll do anything at any length. Turning into a stripper, or when you can't dance. Maybe. Or, when you're not comfortable with showing your body in the first place. Being a prostitute, when you're not comfortable with, selling your body like that. I'm not talking about these people or these behaviors as something that's wrong, but when it's something that is out of your norm, something that is not acceptable to you, something that makes you feel uncomfortable, and you're doing it in order to receive a certain type of outcome, then you are acting out of desperation because you are trying to receive something and you're willing to take an L in order to get it, or whatever. So everyone has had their desperate behaviors or made desperate decisions, sometimes so much that it's become an unconscious desperate behavior or decision. That's the stuff that we need to get into. So the 3 things that we do on a regular basis that is considered to be desperate behavior: how to spot it, how to figure out what's going on and why we're behaving in that way, and how to knock that shit out the park so we can go ahead and take our L's and put them in the back and rock with our wins. Let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few reasons, because there's many, that people behave in desperate ways in order to achieve a certain type of goal. Usually people are desperate or behave desperately when they're about to take a loss, especially something that they really want. So when it comes to money, relationships, just certain outcomes, your ego will kick in and making a desperate grab-ass attempt at saving you from taking an L. But the problem is that the ego doesn't really know how to gauge L's, so you could easily be taking an L trying to hold on to another one. The ego confuses you and says you can't take that loss. You can't be embarrassed. You can't allow that person, place, or thing to pull away or to not be there, because then everyone's going to know that you didn't accomplish it. Everyone's going to know that you lost. And what is that going to do? So in relationships, for example, maybe you're in a relationship with somebody who is, your relationship is well known. You've been posting on Facebook. They've been posting on Facebook. Everybody's been talking, blah, blah, blah. But it's been shit. The relationship has been shit for years or whatever, months, whatever. And it's getting perpetually worse. Now, you're aware that the relationship is trash. You're aware of it. And you're unhappy. You really would like to get out of it. But your ego will hold you there, stating that everyone who has seen all of you can't leave because everyone has seen all of your videos, everyone has seen all of your posts, everyone has seen all of your, your relationship. And if you let it go and if you guys break up, then they'll know that you're a liar. And they'll know that you couldn't hold on to the relationship, as if a relationship is something that you're supposed to be holding on to in the first place. It is not. Relationships are something that is supposed to come together naturally on its own, not something you have to clamor to keep in your space. So we have all, if you're an adult and you've been in any type of relationship with anybody, you have all made this mistake of letting your ego decide to keep you in that place longer than you should have, when you knew already the relationship was going to shit, but your ego wouldn't let you take the L. And so the first thing is losses, the fear of loss, being scared that you're going to be outed as a loser, not wanting to take the L, and your ego not wanting to take that death. That is the first reason of which you will have a desperate act to save it. Another reason that you may act in a desperate way is similar to the first one, but it's a tad bit different. It's the consistent loss of something. So, for example, if you have abandonment issues, for example, everybody that has ever been in your life has either died or took off or something like that, starting from maybe a parent on down or whatever, maybe you lost a relative or something like that. And my condolences to anybody who has lost relatives, because I know that's a trauma that you have to work through all of your life. But when you have taken too many losses, you'll start to have a abandonment issue if it's not checked, if it's not taken care of, if you don't deal with your shadow work, talk to somebody, get it out. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that comes into your life that you love, or care about in any type of way, you will have the fear of them disappearing, whether they walk off on their own or whether they be taken out by the world, And so what you'll do is you'll start immediately, once you start caring about somebody, having these behaviors of clinginess, holding on to, trying to not, take the L in the beginning phases, trying to set yourself up in a desperate way for it not to happen to you. And there's a couple of ways of doing this. There's one, pushing the person away. That's a main one. A lot of people are doing that and then justifying it with some other stupid, untaken care of, gesture or oh, well, this is what really happened or whatever, and not really owning up to their shit. But it's someone who initially gets into some kind of relationship, friendship, whatever kind of ship. And as soon as they really start having feelings, really start caring, it brings about an abandoned fear. And instead of dealing with that, they'll push the person away from them so then they don't have to be the ones who got pushed away. It's extremely childish, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are living this lifestyle right now. A lot of people who have a bunch of people that they can't speak to or they're dodging because they push them away, but they really want to be around them though. So I'm gonna tell you this. If you are a person right now who has somebody that you want to talk to, that you want to be friends with, that you want to be cool with, that you pushed away because of something that really didn't happen, like there's no real reason, you can't fathom a real ass reason of why you did that, the problem is you need to start working on your shadow work and doing some counseling. If you have 1, 2, 3, 4 people like that you have to justify why you don't talk to them anymore, and it's not a direct action, they didn't directly do something to you, then it is you need to go get some counseling and you need to start working on your shadow work. I'm going to just put that out here because I call everybody out on their shit. This is what this channel is for. But so they'll either push you away so that they don't have to deal with the loss of you, or they'll hold on and cling to you so much that the person's fighting to get out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't breathe. You're suffocating me. Yes, I'm your friend, but I don't need to be up under your ass 24/7. Yes, I'm your friend, but you don't need to be mean to every motherfucking body I meet or I talk to or I say. Yes, I'm your girlfriend or your boyfriend, but you don't need to find out where I'm going and where I'm coming back and you ain't here yet and calling me every 5 minutes or whatever. Those behaviors are desperate behaviors that have you clinging on to something, hoping that you don't lose it. But in turn, it does exactly what you're hoping it doesn't do. It forces the person to have to back up off of you. And therefore, you still lose that person. And then, of course, you have the ones that throw the pity party. Well, everybody walks away from me. No, you're running everybody off, And they would love to be friends with you, but you're being a desperate, weird-ass friend. Sorry. So, second reason or way that you behave desperately is by clinging to or pushing away everything in your life, trying to save yourself from taking those losses. You have to learn how to accept L's. Honestly, I heard a quote. It was the best quote ever for me. It said, it helped me a lot. I'm going to put this out there because maybe it'll help you. I do not know who wrote it. So FYI, anonymous. But it said that you have to stop, what is it called? You have to stop making up the outcome. You have to stop deciding the outcome. So for example, like, okay, you meet somebody and you're like, oh girl, he's fine. Oh man, she fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you go, oh, I hope this and oh, I hope that and oh, I hope that. Outcome. No. That person is not obligated to be with you, your expectation of them. They're not obligated to even answer the phone just because you met them and they gave you your phone number. Their phone number. They're not obligated. So what you hope will happen future on, stop it there. Cut it out. Live in that very moment. I met somebody that was fine as hell. Boom. Done. If that person calls you the next time and you call and they answer the phone, whoop, next up, next. You know what I'm saying? But hoping it moves to future. I mean, you can hope that, but the truth, if you're holding fast to the outcome that you're going to get married with kids, you start fantasizing about a relationship with this person and you just got their phone number last week, cut it out. Cut it out. You are hoping for an outcome and you are going to disappoint yourself every time because that person is not obligated to meet those standards of your fantasy. You know what I'm saying? That is something that you need to work on. It's your shadow work. It's you. Okay, and last but not least, in the category of what is the reasons why you behave desperately is having something that you, or not having, or never have had, something that you wish that you could. So, for example, if you're a person who was born into a foster home and your home situation was never good, it was never loving, it was never caring, it was never any of that, right? And you desperately want to build a family, build a home that is loving and caring and all of those good things or whatever, right? And your ideology of a family is like, the white picket fence, the husband and the 2 kids or whatever. And so you live your life always working towards that. Every man that you meet, you're like throwing the house and the picket fence on them. Like, as soon as you go on a date, like, so how many kids do you want? Still streaming back to the outcome. But that desperation and having something becomes, it can be used against you. It can be used against you. Not only with other people who see that as your crutch, see that as your desire for everything and how you move, but also for yourself. Your own shadow will use that against you. Because when you go on dates, instead of just enjoying the date with the man and just getting to know them in that level, at that space, in that time, living your life in that moment, you are consistently living your life fighting or searching for the future. But the future is not here, so you're not living your life for now. So you consistently stay unhappy because no one ever meets that standard. The reason why they never meet that standard is because they're not there yet. You haven't gotten there yet. You can't live in the here and now. Therefore, you can't build here and now to get the house and the picket fence later on. You're stuck right here in this space trying to build a future, and the future is not built in a day. You're not God. And even he took a couple days to create the planet. You know? So the ideology that you hold for wanting something you've never had, whether it be the love from a male, whether it be the love from family, whether it be finances, riches, wanting to be this successful, rich mogul, and, throwing your soul out on the line in order to get that because you've always lived in poverty, and so you've never had that kind of money. So you're willing to sell your soul for it. You're willing to sell your crotch, your mouth, whatever for it. You know what I'm saying? Those are acts of desperation. And although there are a lot of people out here acting desperately and advocating your desperate behavior, yeah, you'll go into a strip club and everybody desperate. So the next hoe gonna teach the next hoe. Each one teach one. I got a podcast on that. Check it out. But acts of desperation are usually justified by the desperate. And there's a crap load of people out here being desperate because there's a crap load of people out here that are living unfulfilled. So when you go at somebody else, yes, there is you should be that hoe. You should slang that thing. Everybody else, you selling it for free, man, but you feel torn up in the inside afterwards, then you're acting out of desperation. When you have to do drugs in order to do whatever it is that you're doing to accomplish whatever you're trying to accomplish, that is you acting out of desperation. When you feel like shit later on, that is you acting out of desperation. If you're taking L's on the back end to get a win on the front end, that's really not a win. That's you acting out of desperation, honey. So 3 main ways in which you act out of desperation or you behave desperately are the main reasons why you do these things. It's because 1, fear of loss, fear of failure. Not letting your ego have an egoic death sometimes and being able to just take that L and move forward. 2, wanting to hold on to an outcome no matter what the price. No matter, because you've never experienced that before and you just can't let the ideology of it all go. And 3, consistently taking an L in the same department and getting to the point where you're acting out of desperation because you can't seem to find the W. You're looking to win and you can't figure it out, So now that we know how do you behave when you're desperate, how do you fix it? How do you fix it? Well, first, like I always say in all of my videos, 1, recognize that you have the problem. You are desperate. You behave desperate. You do desperate shit. Let's be honest. Let's be trill about this shit or whatever. Because you're not above anybody else. And I done done some desperate shit like a motherfucker. Okay? I look back like, this was desperate. Don't ever do that again. Or whatever. And it's okay. It's okay. Be okay with it because you're not made of perfection, but baby, we striving for that. So you can't be perfect without coming from imperfection. Understand that you've done desperate behaviors or that you may be currently being desperate as I'm speaking to you right now. That's fine. Recognize it. After that, after you've known what you're doing or that you are being desperate, let's talk about what are you afraid to lose? Because the only way you can be fighting for something so hard is if you're afraid to lose it. So what is it that you're afraid to lose? Recognize it. Know it. Know it better than your ego knows it. Know it better than everybody else knows it. Know it. Know that shit. Because if you know what is your crutch, if you know what is your Achilles heel, if you know what is your kryptonite, then the only person who could use it against you is you, baby. Know what it is that holds you hostage in your mental and your emotional state so that it can be navigated better than used against you and you fighting, clamoring, and holding on to it for dear life. Know it. That way, and own that shit. I want to be loved by the opposite sex. It's something that I desperately require and I go out of my way in order to get it. And sometimes I've dealt in relationships that was bullshit or whatever in order to get it. Know that shit. That way, the next motherfucker that comes up using that against you, dangling that shit like a fucking carrot, he can get the fuck out of here because you already know that that is your vice, that is your crutch, and you will see when you are behaving desperately in order to get it, and you'll stop yourself ahead of time. Nah, B, I want it, but not at the cost of everything else that is valuable to me. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's not in desperation that you will receive it. See, the mind and energy is the equivalent to economics, I would say. When something is scarce, you see it as high valued. For example, gas, money, diamonds, all of those things they hold, it's abundant in the world. Let's be clear, but that's another topic. You see it as they hold it in vaults and shit. So you'll see it as scarce. It's not readily available. There's not a diamond on the ground when you walk around. It's not like rocks. You know what I'm saying? So it's considered to be a luxury item, something that you cannot obtain, and something that people will go out of their lengths to get to. Some people will cut each other's arms off for a diamond. For you, it may be friendships. It may be having a homeboy or homegirl that is your ace in a hole, somebody that you say. So you'll desperately keep looking for friendship after friendship after friendship and befriending idiots, befriending scandalous motherfuckers who only are there to take or are not healed themselves. So they're just taking to you. Y'all trauma bond, they'll do you dirty, and then you'll be on to the next friend or whatever. And that is your crutch, that is your vice. But when you don't recognize it as how valuable it is to you, when you keep pretending like it's not that important, but under the surface, under the subconscious level, it is all your behaviors is connected to that outcome. Then you will realize, with understanding and knowledge of it, that, okay, no, I would like to have friends, but I want a valuable friendship. Therefore, I will be okay with not doing all of these things in order to get it. Once you do that, once you taper down and hone in on your skill in order to obtain what you're looking for, then the behavior becomes intentful. Then the behavior becomes thought out. It has a path. It's not all over the place and trying to grab anything and grabbing a bunch of shit, crumbs and stuff or whatever, hoping you get something nice out of there, because that's what desperate behavior gets you. So own what you fear losing. Know what it is. Know your Achilles heel, and therefore you can navigate that shit better than your ego or anybody else could. Tidbit of information that I'm about to give you is gold. Gold. I'm about to give y'all some gold right now. Seriously. The last thing that I'm going to tell you about stopping desperate behavior, moving forward in a better direction, is whatever it is that you fear. Now that you've recognized what you fear, now that you own that shit or whatever, stop going after it. I know it sounds hard. I know. What? I'm going after it. What do you mean? That's the shit that I want. Yes. You have fear in it, and fear is not healthy. I don't give a damn what it. Fear is not healthy. You have fear of losing it. You have fear of not having it. So not have it, not go after it, not use it, not go forward in your life trying to go get it. Leave it there. Leave it there. It's like if it's food on the table and you hungry. Okay, I see. And I could go, but I'm not. I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to step back. The reason why is because you have to drop the value that you're associating with that particular item. Remember, I said it's like economics. It's like, the scarcity or whatever. You have created a scarcity mindset around a certain thing. Love from another person, financial stability, whatever the case is. You've created scarcity, and that energy rings true. It's like a cycle of being fearful of losing, so you keep losing and losing and losing. It's a circle. It's a circle. The energy that you put out is like a boomerang. It comes back, baby. So if you're putting out fear of loss, you will get back loss or fear of loss over and over and over again. So you need to break that cycle. And the only way you can break that cycle is to consciously stop heading towards whatever you fear losing. So for example, if you like friendship, you want that ace, boom, coon, you want that homie that you can call for anything or whatever. Be that person to yourself instead. Do the exact opposite. So if you want friendship and you have plans of doing this with your friend and you have plans of doing that with your friend and you just want to be able to do this and you just want to be able to do that or whatever, all those dreams and aspirations that you had, all those fantasies, all that cling to yourself like that. Whatever restaurants you wanted to go to with your homegirls and drink on the side and chop it up, you go to that restaurant, drink, and talk to your damn self. I know it seems Unrealistic, because most people don't like to be with themselves or whatever. It's hard to sit here and have a conversation with yourself. It's hard to sit here in your own mind. That's why you always got headphones on. That's always why you got the TV on. You can't even sleep without it on. Take some time and be to yourself or whatever. I'm serious, because I know it sounds cliche. It sounds cliche as hell. But the truth is, it's the one thing that you've never done. It's the one thing that you've never done. So stop acting like it doesn't work, because you ain't never been there. You've never been there. You've always had somebody around you. You've always had the TV on. You've always had the phone on, the computer on. You always scrolling through some shit. You've never been with yourself. Never. And maybe you'll learn a bunch of shit about yourself that where you realize where your friendships and your relationships and whatever else went wrong. Because it's not always about that other person. It's not always about them. Sometimes it's about you. And maybe what you really thought that you wanted isn't what you really want, but you wouldn't know because you never asked yourself. You never asked yourself. What's been guiding you is ego and loss. And so you have to cut that goddamn serpent's head off and let him flop around. Come back to yourself and figure out, is it really what you still want? And do you want to take all these L's in order to do it? No, you don't. My advice to you is whatever you want. You want that boyfriend and you wanted to go on that skiing trip or whatever, book the skiing trip and go by yourself. Let me tell you something. There's other people wherever you go. Do you know that there's somebody else right now booking a trip by their damn self? Right now. And you don't know if that's going to be your friend for life. But you can't get to that place because you keep grabbing every little piece of dust and crap around, hoping it turns into glitter and gold. Bring down the value of what you fear losing. Take whatever you're investing into everything else that you were trying to hold on to and bring it back inward and invest it into yourself. Spend some time with you. You've never done it. And if you don't want to spend time with you, why the fuck do you think anybody else want to spend time with you either? Man, I know y'all finna come for me. And I've stirred up this pot for long enough. Bye for now.